issues that we are having. But like it's always said, the show must go on for the benefit of those that are watching us from every other part of the world, and for those listening to us too through Procyon Radio platform. Of course, the technical issues does not affect you. It's just our uplink to Invicta FM that's having a little glitch, which the technical crew is already fixing. But you can listen to us via procyonnews.com. Go to the website www.procyonnews.com. You will seamlessly hear us from beginning to end without any of those hitches. The hitches is basically for our terrestrial listeners on Invicta FM. Let's come back to the program and get details of what we are talking about on the program today. Like I said before, we took that little break to sort out our technical issues. On the program today, we will be looking at first the issue of accusation coming from a group of young persons from southern part of Kaduna State. They are aligned as supporters of Ubasani, the APC gubernatorial candidate of in Kaduna State, accusing him of collecting some monies to create an alliance or a merger between Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party. I attempted to reach out to Nasir Jagaba, who was accused in this particular case, but we've not been able to properly get details from him because he's been out of town. We spoke on phone, but it wasn't very clear. But all said and done, the show must go on. We will play some part of the video clip that's been circulating there, where we have the accusation. And apart from that, we'll be looking at the recent call by the federal government that from next month, April, those that are interested in integrating their NIN, that's their national identification number, to their passport and other platforms, would have to pay 1,000 naira before they'll be allowed to do that. And also, we will be looking at the presidency that's saying that the President Muhammadu Buhari never told Malami and Emefiele to disobey the Supreme Court order. These are details of what we'll be looking at on the program today. But first, I'd like to introduce my guests that are already seated. Meanwhile, I am expecting Mark Eskure. He is to be with us in the studio this evening on Ground Zero, but he's not yet here in the studio. We've reached out to him severally today. We had a confirmation from him yesterday that he was going to be on the program, but we've not been able to reach across to him in the past 2 hours. Already seated in the studio, I have Femi Oyelola. He is the correspondent of People's Daily in Kaduna State, and he's seated with me in the studio. Mr. Femi, you are welcome to Ground Zero.
Good to be here. Thank you, Mr. Edison.
Your voice is quite low. I'm sure the listener didn't hear you.
Thank you.
Okay. I also have with me seated in the studio a gentleman and one that is, I would say, not quite a constant decimal. He was away for some time, but he's back now, and I know he'll be away soon. But meanwhile, he's with us. Danjuma Abbas Dangwa is with us in the studio.
Thank you so much for having me on the program today.
All right, thank you so very much. So together we will be doing it this evening on the program. Now, I would want us for now to leave out the video that is trending because Samuel Mok Kure is supposed to be the one that will respond and give us more insight and light in respect of the accusations. But since he's not here, we'll have to hold on a little bit and let's talk about the other things pending when he comes in. But when we are done with it, if he does not come in, we'll have to just play the video and we'll talk about that issue too. The federal government is saying that from next month, Nigerians would have to pay some monies for NIN verification. And basically, this is something that many Nigerians are looking. Nigerians will start paying a new fee of 1,000 naira for national identification number integration and verification as from 1st of April, according to the National Identity Management Commission. The NIMC spokesman, Kayode Adegoke, made the disclosure in a statement yesterday. And the statement reads, the National Identity Management Commission wishes to inform the general public that it has devised and agreed on a framework with the Nigerian Immigration Service to significantly improve the quality of service, accuracy, and speed of passport service through the timely verification of national identification number. Adegoke said, this new arrangement is in furtherance of the Federal Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy's directive to streamline passport application, renewal, and issuance of processes. Consequently, a name verification fee would be charged for each Nigerian passport application for this service. The NIN service fee and the new NIS process will go live on 1st of April 2023. According to Adegoke in Nigeria, the applicable NIN verification fee would be 1,000 naira, in African countries $5 or its equivalent in other currencies, and other countries would be $15 or its equivalent in other countries. Meanwhile, Adegoke said the NIMC has agreed on a framework with the Nigerian Immigration Service to improve quality service delivery. All right. NIN is issued to Nigerians increased by 1.5 million in February, as the figure rose from 95 million in January to 96.5 million in February. And basically, those are the details of it. And let's quickly also look at more details on the press release also from the presidency that basically says the presidency has reacted to public concerns that President Muhammadu Buhari did not react to the Supreme Court judgment on the issue of the 500 naira and 1,000 naira old currency notes, and states here plainly and clearly that at no time did he instruct the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, to disobey any court order involving government and other parties. According to a statement by Senior Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, since President Muhammadu Buhari was sworn in to office in 2015, he has never directed anybody to defy court order. Basically, those are the details of the press statement. But the bottom line is that the presidency is coming out to say that the president did not tell the central bank governor to defy any court order, and it is in respect of the currency redesign that this is coming to light, because most Nigerians are complaining that the president needs to say something and he has not been saying anything, and because of that, traders are refusing to collect. Even today, I had a complaint from a colleague that he boarded a tricycle, and the tricycle rider bluntly refused to collect. And he told him by that announced, he said, until he hears from President Muhammadu Buhari that they should start to collect, they will not collect. That's the bottom line. Let's jump into this, and I'll start from Femi. We'll start from the NIMC new fees of 1,500. Is this not placing extra burden on Nigerians again?
Well, thank you again, all listeners and our viewers online. The issue of the names, I listened very especially to Dr. Kayode Adegoke, the spokesperson of NIMS yesterday, and I pick up virtually every line of the statement, and I study it, I digested it, and I look at it, and I pick up to the key word, processing fees.
Yeah.
From the NIS, from NIM to other agencies, especially immigration services.
Yes,
for those interested in getting passport Nigeria passport. So if you want that to process a passport, your names have to be transferred from there to a processor office. You have to pay from the names office to the immigration. Now, if you look at the database, you find that as I'm speaking presently, you have more than 99.5
96.5.
No, I'm talking about
Okay, just
now.
okay.
99.9 Nigerians, millions Nigeria already on the names. Now, if 10 million Nigeria wants to get passport, which is their constitutional right, they have to pass through this process. I think the Ministry of Communication and
digital
economy now deem it wise, instead of having a pool of application on the ground, why don't we look for a way by bringing in these fees? Maybe they're bringing in consultant or those we will pay them through this fee so that within 24 hours, as earlier promised, you get your passport once applied through the right channel. Now, be that say that as me, pay 100,000 naira. I mean 1,000 naira in this process. I look at it as this way. It is a little of paying. It's a duplication payment because both NIMS and immigration are federal MDAs, federal government translators, and there should be a kind of an harmony for them to have settled out themselves and work out way to get things forward, not by bordering on Nigerian citizens to ask them to pay extra money on that day. I wish Dr. Adegoke would have come down and explain what is this money for. You just say procession fees without explaining what is the procession fees. Is it for consultant? Is it for Nigerian Immigration Service? Which we know you are still going to pay some money to them when you want to get your
passport.
About
25,000
naira now. Yes, it's about 25,000. You have to pay about 25,000 to the Immigration Service. So what is that procession fees for? I don't know until we get a clarification. But I believe that it's especially spokesperson of organization like NIMS, critical organization like this should be very explicit in their message to the public, so that they can digest, every common man can digest your message. If those of us who claim to be in the media industry, I find it difficult to digest that information. How do you expect us to pass it out to our popular so that to read and understand what the government is doing?
All right. You know, I have a little concern here. NIMSI, as a tree or the NIM number that we always get, even if you want to access it, peradventure you forget it on your phone, you have to pay a fee. If you want to get there's a virtual card, you have to pay a fee. What exactly is NIMSI? Is NIMSI trying to put more burden on Nigerians or what? I'll come to Martins now. All of this.
Well, you know, this burden has been there all along. We have just been unmindful of it. I usually will measure how accessible these services are from the perspective of a rural dweller. You know, the cost at which you get NIMSI is over 1,000 naira. I have gone to the space to see how people will pay for a form, you know, a photocopied form, fill that form before they get enrolled. And then when it comes to issuance, again, that's another different ball game altogether. So in a way, you know, one will have been excited to hear that since it is for people just looking for travel documents, that already is something that you have to pay for, that perhaps the government wants to just improve the revenue net, you know. But most of the times, like the statement my colleague here have just mentioned, you know, it's actually so vague that you cannot really say whether there is indeed a win for the nation. And then the cost of this enrollment, considering the fact that it is not something you can actually do on your own and wait until they come around to verify if you are really this person who you say you are. And like you mentioned earlier, you want to check on it from SMS, you pay. We now understand that some people have lost their phone lines because of connecting NIM to SIM cards, and all of that is coming again at a cost, because it's not so easy for somebody who is not skilled, you know, in terms of being digitally skilled, to do this thing on your own. And as much as possible, what we hope to see is that for a very impoverished society, you would have expected that whatever government is doing is also taking cognizance of the fact that Nigerians are actually quite impoverished today than they were, at least 10 years ago. So in so many ways, it seems as if the fees are just the better part of the priority of these agencies, not the kind of services that they are meant to deliver. So in so many ways, you don't really see how this ends up making anything better, because the NIN is supposed to be a means through which Nigeria is saying that we know who our citizens are, where they are, and in the event that we're targeting interventions that is going to be targeting a populace, we really understand who these people are and where they can be reached. But so far, it's been over how many years now since this national identification number has been brought to be. It started with the reforms from the President Olusegun Obasanjo administration until date. What has been the benefit for the common man in this country? And then now that we are now being asked to pay these fees, as the case is, it is just in every way saying government is still trying the best that they can to take out of the pocket of the citizenry, rather than really put in some level of services that the citizens can actually be really confident around.
Wow. You've heard it. We'll still come back to it. But meanwhile, let's move on to the other issue that we want to talk about today, because we'll still come to look at what is actually the importance or relevance of all of these monies that they've been collecting from the citizens.
Oh, yes.
We'll have to look at that, because for how long do you think that will continue to take from the citizenry? Maybe before we end the program, one other of our guests in studio may want to add their voice. So let's look at this other issue now. The presidency coming out to say that President Muhammadu Buhari did not tell the Attorney General of the Federation and the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, not to obey the Supreme Court order. One, was it necessary for the presidency to even come out with a statement in respect of that? That's one. Then two, if they have not been obeying or respecting the court orders, what has the president done in respect of this? And thirdly, now that the president has come out to state his position, is there going to be a change in the attitude of government officials to court orders? Not forgetting too that ab initio, the president was the first one that even disobeyed the order, because when the central bank said that, when the central bank adjourned hearing in respect of that and said everybody should maintain the status quo, the president came out with a broadcast that it's only the 200 naira that should be that the central bank should give a window of 60 days, which was also at variance with the Supreme Court's position as at that point in time, before the Supreme Court further made a new pronouncement in respect of all of that. I'll start from Martins this time around.
Well, if you consider the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari has a history with the Supreme Court, and from 2015, the rule of law was not priority. It was about the body language of the president to every matter of state, and you can see on the part of Nigerians now listening to the Supreme Court say, "Oh no, you can go on and continue with the 100 naira notes or 200 naira notes as legal tender." You can also see that over time, the people are now being skeptical as to whether or not the president is going to, or the executive in this case at large, is going to really take the word of or the court order seriously, even to the point of implementation. It's been the situation of things around the judiciary, really. The executive arm of government seems to have had this kind of running battle with the court. You remember there was a time our justices' homes were being visited at night by operatives of state security. And you remember the issue of Justice Walter Onogen as the sitting substantive Chief Justice of the nation at that time, being ousted out of office in a very shady kind of arrangement. And so when the Nigerian citizens are seeing it from the public glare that really the president is nearly the the, the the person who has the final say about all of these issues, being indifferent to this court order, and with this precedents already set that yes, there was a contempt, or better yet, a disregard for the earlier injunction that no, let's stay off this issue until the Supreme Court addresses it, and the president has not actually given that a thought. So in every way, Nigerians are right. And you remember in the history of this nation, President Muhammadu Buhari is going down in history to have changed currency for the second time now as head of state. And the first one didn't go down well, with citizens having to suffer so many losses. And right now, nobody wants to take any chances at all. So it is very important that the president is now coming out to say, I have not told anybody to disregard court orders. But how about the fact that several instances, these court orders have been disregarded by the same administration, by people he has given or put in an appointment to administer over the affairs of state. And in most instances, we have not seen him talk tough about these issues. And so if this is how it has been, certainly you will expect that Nigerians will actually take this issue with a pinch of salt. And so it is not about what the Supreme Court have said. It is really about the level of confidence now of the Nigerian people around the systems, that we have in place. And that is the kind of response and feedback that you're now seeing. And to think of it, that it took that statement coming out yesterday for the central bank to also react and say they have directed banks to collect and reissue these notes, goes to tell you how so bad things have turned, that these institutions had already believed that if the president has no position on this matter, then definitely they also will have continued to ignore the court order, or better yet, this ruling, and just allow the things continue as they are. So in every way, it is about the body language of the president, and substituting the body language of the chief executive over the position of law is actually a misnomer. It's not what we're supposed to have as what characterizes our democracy at this present point in time, because we have come too far to really say that what the courts will say is of no direct bearing on on policy implementation, and that people can just continue with impunity to do as they deem fit, because that is what is out there currently. And if there is anything, one would have expected that the central bank also will have taken the initiative of perhaps obeying this court order, but perhaps they were also waiting on the Attorney General of the Federation to transmit this judgment and say, hey, this is actually what the Nigerian court have said, and really it's something that you must begin to implement immediately. But that has not been the case, and that we now have SA on media conveying the disposition again, and that is also about the body language now of the president before all of these institutions are coming alive to really do what is statutorily their duty.
Femi, must it take a press statement from the presidency before the central bank would act on what they are supposed to have acted on based on the court ruling?
Well, I don't think what the central bank did actually is just as a result of the press statement from the Garba Shehu. But I think that there's a lot of things at the background that maybe an ordinary man will not know how to do. But I want to bring it to this forum that if you remember vividly, Kaduna State government gave the CBN governor 48 hours to comply with the Supreme Court judgment, unless he will go to jail.
Yeah.
Well, I said let's wait after 48 hours and see what it was going to happen. But last, before 48 hours, he complied. As yesterday, when he called for the banking committee meeting, I know this is going to happen. But later in the evening, I saw Garba Shehu's press statement. You see, all these things point to one direction of cross-cutting in this arms of government. If you look at the CBN Act, the act that established CBN makes it a kind of an autonomous body, and that judgment is up to CBN,
Yes.
not to the federal government of Nigeria. But unfortunately, like rightly say, the president, shoot himself at the foot by intervening in that first judgment by saying, I authorize the only 200 naira.
Yeah.
This is a matter that he has no power to authorize. It is a CBN, and CBN is under an act. Once you are a CBN governor, you don't even take some instruction from your president.
Yes.
You take directly from what your office gives you as a governor of that institution. Now, that is the problem. So that is a kind of a mystery. But I also look at it that everything, no matter how you take it, has to bob back with some kind of a play game somewhere. Maybe it has to do with political play game or something. But thank God, this finally they are coming back to their sense, but it's coming too late. Coming too late in the sense that millions of Nigerians have suffered for this unnecessary, action. It's a good thing. The money policy is a very good thing. But what Nigerians are saying, the process is not favorable to all. Give us time to get used to this system so that we get used to this, and the only way is that allowing us to use both the old currency and the new currency at the same time as a legal tender, then gradually you withdraw the old currency when you have the new currency. But coming up in just in a shoot and say this is it, I think it's high time the Nigeria government should imbibe the system of the executive, where the executive knows its limits in the system of government. The legislation knows what you are supposed to do. Just you make this law, but you don't have to implement it. And judiciary, they know their system. Unfortunately, the one that has been hit so bad, and I pity them like my colleagues, is the judiciary. They are supposed to even be the one that takes the last hope of the common man in the country. But today, when you even run there and they say, okay, this is your step, who is going to execute the judgment for you? It's still bound back to the executive. And once they find out that it's not in their favor, sorry.
All right, let's quickly look at it from this end too. Very soon we'll be taking just a short video clip that in respect of the progressive supporters for Obasanjo. So there's a video that's trending. We'll take a bit of that video so that we'll get details of it. But meanwhile, in other climes, I am made to understand that, take for a country like the United Arab Emirates, like in Dubai, though our federal government, our central bank is saying that they want to, first of all, bring more people into the banking net, then secondly, they also want to have more of the resources within the banking circle and not in private hands. Now, is it not for the CBN to create a platform where people will trust the banks? Which what they have done. Unfortunately, so many people have further lost trust in the banks because someone would have money in the bank and cannot have. Now, in the United Arab Emirates, I was going to understand from the POS, you can withdraw an equivalent of about 15 to 18 million from your ATM, not even in the banking hall. Someone also told me that in the UK, you can also withdraw an equivalent of close to £5 million. And in Nigeria, they are putting a ceiling to what one can withdraw from the ATM, saying that they want all the money within the banking. There's a word they use for it. They want all the monies within the banks. And well,
I think I will. I am not so familiar with that of the United Arab Emirates, UAE, but that of the UK, a little bit from my research and from maybe one or two office, I am quite aware of that. What the system they practice, I tell people, is quite different from what this money policy we are practicing here. What the number of money, I think 1.something trillion in the hands, in the homes of Nigeria, whereas the banking income is only about 900 and something billion in their banks. It's not, no economy can survive that. So you need to bring the money in the hand. And surprisingly, most of such money are not legitimately earned money.
We cannot say that.
I'm not saying per se, but you can judge me. Where are the big kidnappers' money? Are they keeping it in the bank?
Where are the businessmen in Baga? Which bank is in Baga? Which bank is in Lake Charles? Which bank is in Iguabe, close to my village?
Yes,
Which bank is in?
We are not
Avoid.
you understand me? Let us try to understand when we are going towards a system, let's try to encourage that system.
Carry the people along. If the people understood,
that's what I'm coming to that
wanted
one.
to do.
Why are you always jumping to myself as if you are using my brain? When you are working in a system and you are not carrying the people along, you are going to fail.
Yeah.
So when you want to work in this system, just like the president, when I read through the Garba show, he said the way Nigeria welcomed this policy shows that they are in support of it because it will reduce kidnapping, it will reduce bad, but did you carry them along with the problem? You cannot suffer me even if you say you are going to give me what time I have, and you end up locking every tap supply in my house. You now ask me to trek 10 kilometers to get water. I will tell you I don't need your water. Please open the water in my house, no matter how dirty.
All right, let's take this short video clip, then we'll open up the phone lines and start to take your call. It's also ready for me. Let's take the video clip.
Which was a notification was sent for Southern Kaduna Youth Stakeholder. And when we came for the meeting,
where was the meeting?
The meeting was said to be held in BBS.
Okay, BBS. Where BBS? Which BBS?
BBS in Barnawa. And the meeting was aimed at planning to endorse Ashiru. We were present on the ground. We came here for ground truthing. And we found out that the meeting, they saw our faces, they said we were not invited. And quite alright, we were not invited. The memo of the meeting leaked to us.
Okay.
And we decided to come for the meeting because we are stakeholders in the wing of the Southern Kaduna. And we asked them, the convener said we are to excuse them from the meeting. And we said on what ground? He said
who was the convener?
The convener is Nasiru Jagaba.
Okay.
Who happened not to be a Sokapo youth leader. He happened not to be a Sokapo youth leader. In fact, he's nobody.
Okay.
Yes. But because he has been mobilized, he decided to go to call.
Who did you when you mobilize him?
The PDP mobilized him to do that.
Okay.
Yes. The
Okay.
PDP mobilized him.
Okay.
Because even some people from the Labour Party claim not to have a knowledge of the meeting.
But was the meeting held?
Prior to when
Was the meeting held?
How will the meeting held when I'm there?
Okay.
It cannot hold. The meeting cannot hold. You understand? It
So thank
cannot
you.
hold.
Thank you. So thank you.
So
Thank you for
they shifted the meeting. They said they will reconvene it in another day. We are not saying the meeting should not be reconvened, but they should not use the name of Southern Kaduna Youth Stakeholders because I'm one, and I'm not going to endorse any Sharia law pundits to be my governor.
Please, can you just tell us who are you?
If they are not endorsing Asake, who come from Southern Kaduna, I'm going with Ubasani, who is my candidate.
Okay.
Who has a capacity, who I believe in him, who can deliver much more better than any.
So you think Obasani has more competence than the other candidate?
No any candidate
in the whole of
votes as far as
you say what?
There is no candidate in the whole of the country in this forthcoming gubernatorial election that has capacity like Obasani.
Okay.
he has said it all. You don't need me to repeat myself.
So thank you for this interview.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
But meanwhile, our online listeners were able to hear that bit very clearly. Now, basically, the summary of that particular video was that some progressive youths supporting Obasani said one time youth leader of Sokapo, Nasir Jagaba, they alleged that he collected 13 million naira to create a platform for Labour Party and Asake to merge with the PDP and all of that. They came to the meeting. They were not given access to be part of the meeting, they said, because they were not officially invited. I've spoken to Nasir Jagaba. He was supposed to be on the program, but unfortunately not around now to also say his part to it. But the summary of it was that all of what they said was strange to him. He was even hearing it from them for the first time that 13 million was given to him. I was wondering where that particular story is coming from. 0809 4646 is the number to dial to be part of the program this evening. Like I said earlier, I was expecting Mr. Mokure to also shed more light on all of that from the end of the progressives for Obasani. 0809 46 46 206 is the number to dial to be part of the program this evening. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero. Good evening. All right, Awusko, you are welcome to the program.
You see, it's laughable that the president you said that found that the minister or the central bank to disobey the Supreme Court law. It's laughable. That means he's not in control. He should have come his feet and immediately obey that law. You see, the other the shenanigans, the clandestine move of the NPC, they will be flawed on Saturday. And all God and man, so that will very, very get your answer. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Awusko. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero. Hello. Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from? All right, Otumba, welcome to Ground Zero. Let's have your take.
Yes, my take is on this Myra that the president has just speaking now, just coming out to talk now. What we want to give them so long, when you know that it's not necessary that the president will have, I think, have to talk or to maybe do many things. The biggest issue on Friday that the Supreme Court has announced that, and expected that at least by Monday, even if the presidency should have come out, if not because the president didn't announce anything, the government of Israel will go to make court again, and LSC are going to do the same. That's why now the president shows they were interested, and that's why they have to make this announcement. Well, all the years, we don't have that same Nigeria to be bold enough and please allow and take this and so on, it will need this pension that is there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Otumba. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero. Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from? All right, Engineer Emmanuel, you are welcome to the program.
You see, this issue of Mr. President trying to disengage himself or obeying the God's order to sky, it ought not to be, because I remember the first was given. Mr. President came out and said, no, the ban of the old currency still remains, only 200 naira, and the new one that will be accepted. Now, after the thing of the second judgment, they tell us to still come out. And they allow Nigeria to suffer. After suffering, now they are telling us that they should accept their own Naira loan. You see, my brother, there is more to this issue of redesigning of Naira. I'm not against the policy. But after Nigeria has suffered, you know, I've said this morning in the newspaper review.
Yes.
Everything the last leader is seeing people suffer. And they will still manipulate their way to still retain power and say people still voted them. Who are the people we vote? How will I vote somebody that is suffering and suffer under a leadership?
Engineer Emmanuel, I'd like to ask you a question. Are you a member of the APC? Are you a member of the APC?
I'm not a member of APC.
So how come you know that they derive joy from seeing people suffer if you are not a member of APC? So you cannot say it is an APC policy. Engineer Emmanuel, we understand clearly, but not allege or ascribe suffering and say it is their party policy. That is not a position that you can defend. Yes, you may say that, but you cannot say it is the party's position to see Nigerians suffering. I just wanted you to debunk that. All right. All right, then, Emmanuel, let's move on to the next.
I think
Let's move on to the next. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. You are welcome to the program. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is from Kaduna here.
All right, Comrade Gabriel.
In fact, your guest has said it all. The important thing that I heard that the whole president say he has never instructed any of his ministers or governors of Java not to hold on to the ruler of the Supreme Court. Initially, from the first time when the Supreme Court of all rules, that they should hold on. He is the person who directed that human rights to be used in April. Another thing is that speaking that the Regime of the President was there that the Supreme Court has no legal power to rule on the matter. So it's just very important. If we were in the democratic government and the government is very effective, the minister of the Regime of the President was removed him, sorry to say this. And then probably reminding the Indian government, because a lot of millions of Nigerians, just as what you're saying, we are super. So it's just very important that this issue is being treated here and they are not being treated. It's not because of the your regime and others. So many of us are not able to know that this issue is covered.
Okay.
But the grace of God, I think we start respecting the law and let us use our last card to make sure that people are either in or out.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So we'll come back to the studio now where we'll quickly
sorry,
react to
Susie.
some of these.
we have a duty as a media practitioner to always inform our listeners about some certain things, especially when it comes to policy. A government policy that is affecting the old policy is not maybe probably the party policy. If you go back with that, and it all pains me sometimes how we easily forget some certain things as Nigerians. When President Muhammadu Buhari came out with this policy, when some of his own party governors were kind of rebelling against it,
Yeah.
the presidential candidate of the opposition party and some of his things, they came out clapping hands and say, very good, this is what it is good for the people, it's good for the people. So how comes it to be the government policy and then maybe not the party? We should remove partisans and other things. We are suffering. And if we continue to suffer along party line, we continue to suffer along party line. And it is high time, like you say, wake up, think twice. It's high time you vote your conscience, vote according to your understanding. If you don't understand, allow people who are well informed to educate you on that thing and they get informed. Not just because you say it is an APC problem. Like you say, are you an APC member? If it is a PDP member, if it is Labour Party member, are you a Labour Party member? I love what is happening in Nigeria, for the political space now in Nigeria, that it's not more two-way street.
Yeah.
It's now getting to a three-way street, and very soon it become four, and where you find people working.
All right. And I also want you to give your party shot, your last word now before I come to Martins.
Well, my last shot is this: well, President Buhari, you are finally spoken, but you spoke very late. My brothers are also sovereign. So I got me Emefiele. You are the CBN governor, but you are not the Alpha and the Omega. You should obey the law. We have passed through that time. You say by commercial banks and other banks to start accepting it, but this is a lesson for future that this law of the land supreme to any other human being on this land. Either you are CBN governor, you are any other thing, the law of the land supreme. And we should also learn to thank some people who fought for the common man in Nigeria that we have this receipt. Everyday kind of this we are having today, because it is not easy. If you go to, yesterday we went for.
We need to wrap it up. We are out of town.
Who, because of no money to treat him, they rush him from Marabarido before they get to the hospital. Gave up. These are sad signs because of one policy or somebody. So I think we should learn from our law is supreme to anybody.
Dangwa Abbas, your party shot.
Well, I want to say again that we also need to remind the president and also his chief ministers and every appointee in government and all the citizens of this nation that one of the beauty of democracy is the rule of law. And if the law will not have its place, certainly we are actually saying that perhaps we should just close that book called the Constitution and begin to have a rethink of the kind of nation we want to build. But however, on the NIMSI issue, we're just hoping that this is not just a step to another, a step to infinity, because we are now talking about passports being linked to to NIN, and it is coming at a fee. We do not know what will begin to happen in times to come when most of the engagements around the national identification number is going to become totally fee-based. As much as possible, let us see public institutions in Nigeria in a democracy working first for the interest of the public and not for profit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do not have much time again. I would have loved Uche Ijegalu. He has been in the studio with us. He's the anchor of the program, Ayimbo Igbo, and also a reporter with Procyon Radio and Television. Uche, next week you'd have a say, but for this week, we really have to go down. And just like you said, we hope that when it even comes to renewing my driver's license, I don't have to pay a fee to link it to NIMSI. We hope I don't have to pay a fee to link my name number to my voter's card.
Or to your SIM card.
To my SIM card and all of that. Come on, Nigeria. Come on. There's so much on our shoulders already. Let us do things in such a way that the country will be one where everybody will feel very, very comfortable and be able to work in it. I want to sincerely appreciate everybody, most especially the management and staff of Invicta FM. I thank you all for this partnership. Also, I'd appreciate Nifemi Onibiyo and Mercy Ofuya. They linked us up right there from Invicta. And right here, Hinome handled the YouTube transmission. Michael handled the audio. Grace Adebayo was also in charge of studio management. Not forgetting Osehise Agbon, who handled the streamings, especially on Facebook and, of course, on our online portal. And most importantly, the manager of them all, Sarah Agbon. I appreciate you all for everything. I don't forget Gabriel Okotie for standing by, and of course, I mentioned Uche Ijegalu earlier. And to God Almighty, I thank you for all of the opportunities you've given us. My name is Ehis Admon. Until next week, we'll be on again. Remember that in this world that we live in, it is full of stress and other troubles. But as individuals, we must always struggle to make sure we are ahead of everything. Go placidly amid in haste and noise, and remember what peace there may be in silence. Plant a tree today, water it and watch it grow. May the good mighty Lord bless and keep us all.